mo so I can speak. Hello, hello. Okay, matungog ra ko sa Zoom, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
that's good. All right, guys. So before we conduct this tournament, reminders lang ko nga kanang as requested by our host, our tournament sponsor, that when we conduct the camera battles, we request that your hands will always be seen on the table and make sure nga clear ang inyong mga mga play areas. Thank you.
edge.
Yes, yes, hello.
So Discord, mo niya mo voice, then
Mm.
okay, muna akong camera mo ra.
Yep,
Alright,
that's it.
alright.
That's it. All right. One Piece players, I have your pairings. I will be listing them on online battle results. I will also be announcing them on the Discord. So for a while. Right. So for Arena 1, uh, Gab and Daryl will stay here. And for Arena 2, Brighton versus Zach.
Di na may madunggan sa stream sa siya. Itagabs.
Ito, Sedge, madunggan mi sa stream. Mute ang players ha. Nga, ang commentator lang yung tingog.
Nagwarning. Nilib pa si Sedge. Ako i-check sa stream, bi. Check sa stream, madunggan ba ta? Madunggan ba ta for now? Oo. Basig mo sapa ko to ni Sedge ba iniguan? Cast niya. Sabi to. Ansa? Sama na pag-lock. Sama na pag-front sa imong camera ani. View. Gallery. Ikaw ra mong kitaan ba? Okay. Kamutuwa akong kita. Ako gi-hide akong self na lang. Klaro na akong gamay mo. Di, marag ko na sila kay ma-stream tanan game mo. Switch ra sa post. Wala na hide.
Hello, bro. Hello.
Machismis na sila.
Sakto na sa Messenger, bro. Kay if sa Zoom basig makadungog sila sa akong tingog pod. Sige, bro. Inala ko if okay na ta, bro. Okay, magsugod na ko.
Mata ni Sedge, no?
Sige guys ha, for a while lang sa kay kanang set up sa mi sa stream.
Sige, mag-blame. Lagi? Ano yung kuhan siya? Pilot Tourney. Guinea pigs. Kami to, yun sa kanan niya. Nga na, punta ato ba? Tudlo to ni boss from. Unmute na ka sa kuhan? Unmute mo ka sa Zoom sa? Mute sa Zoom dapat.
Yes, sa Discord raan yung voice para dili mo overlap.
Butag map ni mo good. Official map na.
Alright, thank you guys.
Hello, Sedge.
Hello?
Sa Discord.
Hello, bro?
Mute eh.
Kadungog ka na ko, Sedge.
Oo, makaduwar ko nimo, bro. Wait sa bro, tawagi ko balik, bro. Tawagi ko balik.
Sedge.
Pila ko strict siguro. Like kailangan ba lighted niya makita din klaro ang hands ano siguro. Di ba ito na
Hello,
trending
Siege.
na kuan?
Sids.
Naikamot ni gawas og kalit. para silang slamista ba? Okay. Agent kay ko good. Ano siya ba? Daghang chances kay online na gani din rare ka sa kay 200 players ba ganahan nila.
Hello, bro. Dora, Dora.
After the
Sige, wait sa kali lang.
Nakay dice nila.
Ay, bro, na concern ang table 2. Kay gamay ra kay ilang camera. Kay
West.
ang gi-focus kay kaniman sa kuan
Kamundan.
sa kani yung gipin mo gi-focus. So dili makita ang kuan. So dili sa kita silang
Oo, kato. Itong ray laser.
ako silang pumutanan. Ako sa pumutanan ha if kanang pwede ba. Kay if
For sure. Ang invited ana.
I mean makita nila but gamay kayo ba?
Kailangan na ma-improve yourself.
Aka ro makita na. Pero ang sa stream okay ra nga usara ma-focus. Sige. Ako sa pumutanan if okay na. Nag-request sila bro nga kung kinsay top table diya ra sa Zoom, otherwise sa Discord na lang sila. Kay maglibog daw sila sa 4 cams. Mag-Discord, Discord na lang daw sila bro para ma-focus na to. Sige. Sa bro ha.
Pagkuan din ako. Time na day pagkuan ako. Pag-join ako kay hapsay na sa daan ng CM.
Yes, sir.
Start. History. Nini sir.
Alright bro, kanang door ako. Hello? Hello. Sige. Ako na lang ingnan nga mag-start bro ha. Then mag-start na ta sa kuan. Casting na ko bro no? Double check. Sige. Hello One Piece players. You may now begin. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our viewers, players and non-players alike. Welcome to the very first Battlegrounds One Piece TCG tournament. Tonight we have 4 players. We have Gab on Blue Purple Luffy. We have Daryl on Blue Purple Luffy. We have Brighton on Bellow Betty. And we have Zach on Green Zoro. So for our very first match of this evening, we will have the players of both using Blue Purple Luffy as our top table. We'll give the players some time to decide their turn orders. Before we formally begin with our tournament. Sorry for that minor technical difficulty. We are now back, and we're just awaiting for the two players to decide their turn orders, and we can begin with our tournament round one. So, a little recap on the Blue Purple Luffy matchup. Blue Purple Luffy is actually one of the strongest decks of this OP12 meta, nearing to PRV02 and the starter deck meta. The reason why Blue Purple Luffy is such a strong deck is because with the combination of blue and purple having access to so many strong 9 cost and 8 cost bodies that they can just simply ramp with stuff like Gear 2, with Bon Clay from EB01, God Thread, and other sources of ramp. They can easily reach their late game and out resource their opponents to eventually win the game on their terms. However, in the mirror matchup, it's more on who can play more gigantic bodies and stick with them and outlast their opponent that way. So in that way, we can find that which one of these players can pilot this extraordinary deck to its utmost limits. And it looks like we are about to begin. They are now setting up their life. They have decided their hand, and it looks like Daryl is going to go first. He places a Dawn, and he's simply passing the turn over. Pass it over to Gab, who's simply gonna pass back. So this is not uncommon for the blue purple Luffy's, as they do not really have a great one or two Dawn option. But once you get three to more Dawns, this is when the deck will truly begin to activate its core. So right now, he's going to swing 6,000 to the enemy leader. What will Gab react? He will simply take the damage. Normally, Blue Purple Luffy does not want to take damage, but in this circumstance, maybe he might not have any counter, or maybe he just wants the extra card in hand. In any case, now Daryl does play the Zorojuro 3 cost, and as long as you, when attacking, as long as you have 3 or less life and you're multicolor leader, you can ramp an active Dawn, which is what I mean when they want to get to those ramping curves as much as possible. Now, Gab is going to go ahead and hit 6,000 to the enemy leader. Probably thinking of, okay, he does have the Bond Clay 1k counter, so he does save himself from that one damage for 3 Dons. Gab is going to play a Zorjuro of his own, and he will simply pass the turn over to Daryl. Now, Daryl has 5 Dons total, and he has approximately 5 to 6 hand cards, or is that 5 hand cards? He has 5 hand cards. So most likely he would like to attack with the Zord. Oh,
Thread. Sa-
God Thread, and that is such a huge tempo swing on Daryl's. And God Thread actually holds Gab back by a turn and gives so much opportunity to Daryl at this point in the game.
Hit 0-0
So he
for
swings
rank
for
1.
4 when attacking, gets an active Dawn, and
Ayun.
of course 4 to 6 it will
Okay,
not
sa
hit. But he's going
leader.
to put
8
two
dons sa
Dawns
life.
onto
Or
his leader,
8k sa
swinging
life.
8,000 to 6,000 to his opponent's leader. So Gab is thinking really hard if he wants to counter this out or does he have any counter at all. So right now
Um,
he's thinking of his
7 ako.
options. He did
Trying to
lose a
extend.
lot of tempo from that God Thread play. And he will simply
Sige.
take the damage, and he gets the Thunder
Damn!
Vago, which
Okay,
has a
okay,
trigger
girly.
of ramping Arrested Dawn. So
Sige, sige. Pass.
he's not clearly lost tempo.
Okay.
He does still have his ramp
Lutos
according,
trigger.
although it's not as
Ilan nakaroon?
fast. It is still
Dons.
there.
Nakakuha na ko 7 dots.
Okay, okay.
So moving over to his
Sige,
turn,
sige.
he has about 7 Dawns. He can play a lot of things. He can play a God Thread of his own. He could play Bond Clay, another Zorojuro, and leave a Dawn open for some
Dito.
counters. But right now, Gab seems to be on the edge against this matchup. So he goes 6,000 to what I think
6
is
Zoro
either the
Juro.
leader or
Sige.
the Zorojuro.
Red.
And he does go for the Zorojuro. It's too big. Zorojuro will be KO'd. Now, with his 7 Dawns, what can he do to finally put himself in a better position than his opponent? Remember, his opponent still has 3 life and he has 1. He is currently on the edge, but as I said many times before, it is not too late.
Sige.
This game, comebacks are real. He does play the 5 cost Nami on play, draw 3 cards from the top of your deck, and place 2 back to the top or bottom of your deck. Now, right now he's trying to look for cards that might synergize. Like if he puts 2 cards to the top, it might be to
Sige.
follow up with a 9 cost Sanji play for
Gago
his
ka sa
next
top
turn,
6
and he simply
Sanji.
passes with
Sige.
2 open
Reset.
Dawns. Now, leaving 2 open Dawns with this matchup
Bawal.
is actually very common because Blue Purple
Dons.
Luffy does play a lot of event counters, stuff like Gear Second, Thunder Bagua,
Mhm.
and the infamous Gum Gum Giant. He does have a lot of hand cards because he took a lot of damage early on of
Uh-huh.
his turns, and now it looks like Daryl has about
Hmm.
8, no 9 Dawns,
Thinking
9 Dawns to
phase.
play his own big bodies. What will he do? He still has 3 life. He's sitting a little bit comfortably, but at any moment in the next turns, tempo could swing, and it's all
Budget ka.
on who has the better field.
Sige. 9
So it looks like he's
dons.
thinking for 9 Dawns. He uses all of his
1.
Dawns to play 9 cost
2.
Charlotte Linland, Dawn minusing 1,
Trash
trashing
1
one
card.
card from hand,
Trashing
and he is going to heal 1 from the top of
1.
his deck and send a 6 cost
And
or
heal
lower
life.
character to the bottom of his owner's
Bottom
life,
Nami.
top or bottom. And I think he'll decide to use the Nami, places it on the
Ayan.
bottom
6
of
to
his
life.
owner's life. So now tempo has swinged in the favor of Daryl in this matchup. He has 6,000
Yes, yes,
to the
yes.
opponent's leader, which I believe he will counter 1k out of. Oh, he chooses to use the Thunder Bagua so that he ramps 1 additional Dawn so that he can
Damn.
be the first to use his
8 doon
Luffy's leader effect.
nakapag ako
And
ni
for those
hit.
viewers who are not aware,
Sige.
the Blue Purple
Pass,
Luffy's
pass, pass.
effect
Mukabantay
is
da. 2
when
dons
you
ko
have
dito eh.
8 or more Dawns at the start of your turn, you
Sige.
may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, pick 1 Straw Hat card from
Reset
among
pa
them,
akong ginuna
and
niya.
then you may
Dadig
place
sa
the
akin
rest at the
bago.
top or at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is one of the major reasons why Blue Purple Luffy is such an
Sige.
incredible card. So much consistency, so much flexibility in what he can
Bottom ay.
draw,
Stay on.
and he basically
Oh
draws two
shit.
cards every turn, meaning he can outlast and outresource his opponent.
Muka sa bago. Ay, nakalimot ko.
All right, now that we are heading into his turn, he will now draw for his
Three.
turn, active everything,
3.
and get his 2 extra Dawns. Now, what will his play be? We can think of things like 9 cost Sanji, the 9 cost Rush Luffy, could be a 9 cost Sanji into Big Mom or into Katakuri, because those are typically the strong bodies that Blue Purple Luffy
Picks
wants to play.
either.
He did 6,000
Okay.
power to his enemy leader. Daryl counters out for 2,000 counter,
Hanji
and for a
ganina.
total of 9 Dawns rested,
Hanji
he
go.
will play the
Sanji
Sanji,
dyan.
playing something from the top, and as long as it's a 9 cost or
Shit.
lower character that is not named Sanji, he can
Sige.
play it, and he does play the
Sige.
Katakuri. This Katakuri being such a strong blocker with the ability to
Bago
attack, because at the end of his turn, he may set
cards.
up to 2 Big Mom pirate cards characters, including himself, as active. So such a great tempo swing on his favor right now.
So passes over to Daryl. Daryl will also use the same leader effect. He is thinking really hard, and he is going to show and reveal
Wow,
one
this is
straw
one.
hat card. Is going to be the
Loading.
9 cost Sanji again. This card
Ayun.
is very crucial in this matchup. You want to go as wide and as far than your opponent. So this is exactly what the blue purple Luffy wants to
On
do.
top.
All right, now he does get to ready his turn.
Ayun. Reset. Draw one. Dons.
All right, 10 Dons on his side. He has about 4 cards in his hand or 5 cards in his hand. I'm not entirely sure. So he has a 9 cost mob on his board, a leader, and he still has 4 life. So he's sitting very
Six
comfortably.
leader.
He hits 6,000 to the opponent's leader. Gab thinking of whether to use his Katakuri or a counter. He will simply use his Katakuri
Oh,
to block
one
this
actives, huh?
attack. And right now, Daryl still has one more attack, 9,000 from the Charlotte Linland. So he's still thinking, how is he going to approach this? He has 10 Dons to his name and decent options with the 9 Kasanji that we saw. We did see that he rearranged it back to the top, so it might just be another great big body to play along with the 9 cost Sanji. So right now, both players are assessing their situations. Gab is revealing how many cards he has in hand. It is crucial to know how many cards your opponent has in hand because you might be thinking of how many counters they might have, how many resources they have, and what possibilities can they approach with during their defense turn as well as their offensive turn. Now he is trying to fiddle around with his Dons, thinking of what to do. He attaches 5 Dons to his
Katakuri.
Linlin and hits for a total of 9 plus 5, 14,000 to what I
Yes.
believe is the Katakuri. He is trying to pressure the Katakuri, trying to force out a counter, and
Nice.
Gab
Okay.
simply gives it
Then five
to
Dons.
him. And with the 5 Dons remaining, I think it's
Nami.
going to be a Nami. He plays a 5 cost
One,
Nami of his own,
two,
going to draw 3 cards
three.
from the top of his deck and return to the bottom or to the top. So a reason why he
Okay.
might have played this instead of the 9 cost Sanji, he
On
might not have a great target for his 9
top.
cost Sanji,
Then.
or he just wants to get rid of the Katakuri and swing tempo
Basta,
in
basta.
his favor. So right now we
Yes,
did
yes.
see that he returned cards to the top of his deck, meaning that he wants those cards. Those cards could be counters, or those cards could set up his 9 cost Sanji effectively. Right now we are passing it over to Gab, and it is going to be his turn to try and regain board control.
Sige.
So right now he does reveal that he wants to take the Gum Gum Giant, the ever infamous Gum Gum Giant. For viewers who don't know, Gum Gum Giant is a 1 cost Straw Hat Crew event with Don -2, trash 1 card from your hand. You can give your leader or up to one of your characters plus 4,000 and then draw 2 cards.
Four.
Amazing value, amazing cycling, just a very strong counter card that's only limited to Straw Hat Crew leaders such as Blue Purple Luffy himself. So with one
Nice
down, he is going to swing
leader.
7,000 to his opponent's leader. This might entail that he might play
Okay.
another 8 cost Katakuri
Leader.
or choose to block her up. So he
Or
does take
trigger.
that damage. He is still very much comfortable with his life total right now. Opponent swings 9,000 to
9.
his leader, and I think he will most likely take because taking right
Attack.
now
Sanji.
does mean that he gets more
Tama.
cards in hand and to see what options he has from his life.
Thinking face mo na ba?
So right now they are communicating, thinking of what they want to
Ay,
accomplish, what they want to do. So they're thinking
Wait, waiting.
particularly he will in fact take the damage because he wants more hand cards and he wants to see the options that he gets from his life. So this is when I
Nice.
see 8th
Rush.
Dons, it'll be another Charlotte
Sige.
Katakuri. Unfortunate
Yes.
that Gab could not find an Anka Sanji to play with that category,
Leader
but
ability.
nonetheless, category is still a very good play for his tempo. It is a blocker that can attack for his next turn, which is gonna be huge for his defense and his offense. And now it's time for Daryl to do his leader ability. He will search out a Zorojuro,
Zoro.
most likely gonna be a counter at this point of the game, because you don't want to use your Dons to play 3 costs
On
or lowers, you want to use your Dons for more effective and impactful plays. So I believe this is just going to be an additional plus 1,000
Yes,
counter in his hand. All right, setting everything active and draws a card for his turn. Let's see what he wants to do and play. So right now, Gab does have about 9 hand
Six lead.
cards, so a bunch of counters. This game's going to be a little bit more drawn out, but it should be all right. All right. So
Collective
6,000 to his leader. He does choose to block with the Charlotte Katakuri.
3 hand cards, Gab.
And right now, Daryl is thinking particularly on which he wants to do. Does he want to go for the same play of swinging huge to the category, or does he want to finally swing into life, bait some counters out, and hopefully swing the game into their favor? Because in this particular matchup, it's all about who has more resources and who has a wider board. All right. So what will Daryl want to do? I believe he wants to swing 9,000 to his leader. Finally bait up one of the counters. Could be a Gear Second. It could be a Gum Gum Giant. He
14.
does go for the previous turn play. He does want to attach 5 Dons to
Come on,
his
cut.
Linlin and swing 14,000 to the enemy's category, which will need to be entailed by a 7,000 counter. Gum Giant, Don minuses twice, throws away one of his Linlins, gets +4 to the category. So right now he's 12,000 and he draws 2 cards that could be additional counters for his
14.
8 cost
14. So
category.
need pa ka og 3K.
Gets +4 to the category. So right now he's 12,000. He needs 3,000 more to be free and alleviate from this decent play. Because for viewers who don't know, Bond plays when attacking is he can choose up to one of your opponent's characters' base power and turn it to his base power for the turn. So right now, so on his attacking turn, Bonflay could copy the 9 cost Sanji, which has 9,000 power, and swing that 9,000 to the opponent's leader, which is going to be very huge. All right. So right now, in terms of board presence, Daryl does have a slightly more decent board presence, but Gab's board is nothing to scoff at and nothing to be sad about. That is still a very strong board with 3 attacks coming to the side of Daryl. So with his leader ability, he does choose to pick up the 5 cost Nami. It could be a 1K counter, or it could be a card he wants to play in this particular matchup. All right, he's thinking really hard of how he wants to rearrange this, which card he wants to draw, which card he wants to heal, possibly with 9 cost bomb. All right, he draws for a turn, and it looks like it's going to be Gab's turn this time, his attacking turn. What does he choose to do?
7.
All right, first off, he wants to swing 6,000 to his opponent's leader.
6 leader.
What we did see that Daryl has a 1K counter. We did see the Zordjuro, so that is a 1K counter from his side. He is defended. Now swinging to 8,000 power to Daryl. He needs at least 3,000 counter, which could be from a Gear Second or a 2K 1K. He's fiddling around. He does reveal a Gum Giant. He actually over counters for this particular attack. He's going to Don -2, trash a Gear Second, and draw his 2 cards. Very minimal counter in Daryl's hand right now. So I think he's going to take this attack, or he's going to block with Nami. All of a sudden, the tempo swings in Gab's favor. He does take that damage because Gab just did a magnificent hand read. And he is going to play the 9 cost Linlin, going to go rest his 9 Dons, Don -1, trash 1 card from hand, heal 1, trashing a Gravity Blade, which is not particularly useful in this matchup. And he is going to send either Bonclay or Nami. Not want that Bonclay to swing next turn. And because Daryl could not find a decent target for 9 cost Sanji, all of a sudden Gab is now looking pretty great for his tempo. He now has three gigantic bodies on his end.
Hands up.
And it looks like Daryl is on the edge this time around. He only has 2 life, probably around 6 to 7 hand cards. I think that's 6 or 5. And he is trying to assess the situation. What can he do to repair the situation? What can
Okay.
he
Continue.
accomplish? He does pick up
Red
the
rock.
red rock. He's trying to equalize the board. Will draw into his turn. And now he's going to go and Dawn
Number one.
2, and he's going to draw a card for his turn, and we will see how he wants to play his turn out.
Ilang
Now
hand cards?
we do know that he still has that 9 Kasanji in hand. He could try to gamble it blindly, but
7.
if you ask me, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a
Okay.
particularly strong
Six
play
leader.
right now. 6,000 to lead. Gab could simply just block it, and he couldn't even care that much because we do know that he has additional counters. He's very confident. See, he will simply
Carefully,
block
red
with
block
8
di
cost
Kogi.
category because
Sige,
if
sige.
Daryl chooses to go for an aggressive play
SP
to
na,
the
SP na.
category, I'm sure that he will um, most likely
Red rock,
counter.
red
And
rock.
we do see the red rock. The target
Lagi.
will be the 8 cost category,
Laging isyo ang
which
red
is
rock.
a slight
Ayaw.
blunder on his end because if he wanted to target the category, he would have done it earlier. That way, when he swings with 6,000 to his opponent's leader, he would not have a free block. So more or less, the value is diminished, but it's not totally lost. He still lost a blocker. He still lost a gigantic body. Still accomplished what he did. It was just a slight blunder on Daryl's end. So right now he has 4 dons left and still one more swing from
9
the
leader.
Linland because he is very comfortable right now. He is not in any way, shape, or form going to lose in his couple of
4
his
pa. 4
turns. So
active.
he can choose to just
Oo.
take to see what cards he gets, or he can choose to counter. He does choose to counter. He wants to preserve his life. He wants to tell him that you are not
Sige.
killing me in the next few turns. I'm going to stay safe. So uses his
Okay.
own Gum Gum Giant, trashes the Nami, draws 2 cards, and has plus 4,000. So his leader is defended.
Then
Now on the side of Daryl, he simply for 4 dons, I don't know what he can do, ladies and gentlemen. He does have a lot of hand cards, but he simply has to pass. This does tell us that he has a lot of
hand cards kay
event
Gab.
counters in his hand. So right now, Gab is going to use his leader ability,
Mamukay.
trying to see what option of Straw Hat that he can draw. Something like Gear Second, another Nami, could be the 9 cost Rush Luffy. It could even be additional counters like the 6 cost Sanji, the 5 cost Frankie or Franosuke in that arc, and also Zorojuros and Namis for the 1K counters. So right now he's thinking between his hand, what he wants, what he needs to further develop his lead. And looks like he will be taking a Zorojuro 1K counter, adding
Hello,
more to his
yes.
defense. And he did,
Hands of
I
life.
believe he bottomed. I'm not quite sure. I think he bottom decked the rest of the 4 cards that he saw in his hand, meaning he does not want those.
8.
Those are not particularly important for this situation. And he has 3 swings again. Daryl just being pressured by these gigantic bodies. 9,000, 9,000. That is, although Blue Purple Luffy does have a lot of event counters, in the mirror matchup, each resource you use is another resource that the opponent does not have to play around. So he's now doing a hand check, 7,000 to 6,000. Do you have a 2K counter in your hand right now? He
7
wants to know.
leader.
It looks like Daryl will give him
Year 2.
a Gear Second. This is actually a particularly good hand read on the side of Gab. He now knows that, oh, you don't have smaller counters.
9
What if I
leader.
just swing with the bare minimum? So that Daryl is forced into a position where he has to over counter.
Yep.
And we do see the Gum Gum Giant, which is
Turn 2.
not an over counter by any means. It is actually the correct counter, but
Trash.
that Gear Second was in fact
God thread.
over countered. He does throw the God Thread. He is going to draw 2
Off
cards
leader.
from the
Then
top of his
2.
deck, swinging
Okay.
9,000 again to his opponent's leader. And what
9
will
leader
Daryl's
mode.
response be?
Year 2.
He does use the Gear Second plus 3,000, making 9,000 and 1K counter more.
Watch Hachi?
2K counter actually. So we so in
Nana
Gab's
Brave
side,
yung
he knows that
body.
he only drew the 2K counter
Katakuri na
recently,
pod.
meaning his hand cards are slowly diminishing, slowly subsiding, slowly reversing, and he does play an 8 cost Katakuri,
Vision.
leaving one dot open, and it looks like Gab is in a
Yes,
very favorable
Bigay
position
top
right
line.
now.
Leader
Isang
ability.
isang patay, mong ipatay ang isang patay.
Daryl does ask for which cards are in his trash so that he
Leader
can
ability.
assess the situation and approach it as
Okay.
best as he can. But right now, it's not looking too good for
Matay
Daryl
ka
at this
na.
point in time. He is being out resourced. He's being out tempoed by the bodies. He just could not play that 9 Sanji we saw earlier, and it looks like it's biting him right now at this point in time. So right now we are going to see he's going to take the
Sanji blocker.
2K counter Sanji. All right, additional counter. We like to see additional counter. We need that defense. We need safety nets. And let's see what Daryl likes to produce on his turn. So right now Daryl still has 10 dons. He's going to, I believe, swing 6 first, because the idea of that is that in the game of One Piece, you always want to ascend
5 dons.
because it draws out more counter, and it ensures that if you couldn't counter the previous one, you might have a harder time countering in the second one. So he does choose to play the 5 cost Nami again, drawing 3 and choosing to bottom deck. No, he chooses to top deck instead. So he's confident that maybe the cards he will draw for his Gum Gum Giant are gonna be. It's not looking too good for the side of Daryl. So right now he is thinking very hard. He is thinking, what is the best play for this time? So 6,000 to leader. He does choose to block with 8. There still has 5 dons left. Is he going to swing again to the Katakuri? Which has proven to be not the most optimal play on his end. But the play he does have access to. So now he's going to swing 9,000 to enemy leader, and we are going to see the Gum Gum Giant in play once again. No, okay, not Gum Gum Giant. Gear second this time. He wants to reserve the Gum Gum Giant for something bigger. He's going to give him a Gear second and a 1K counter. And we're going to see the Bond play again. But at this point in time, I don't know if this is going to be enough. He only has about 6 cards in hand, which is still a pretty decent hand size, but with the swings of Blue Purple Luffy, that's going to disappear in a matter of swings. So right now, we do see that Gab is going to take the Uso Hachi 2K counter, and with his ability, if he chooses to use it on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters for the cost of 5 or less. And as you know, when you rest a blocker, they cannot use that blocker as the next target for safety. So Usohachi is a very versatile card, being a defensive card and an offensive card to help you close out your games. Usohachi getting reprint in PRBO2, so rejoice. Future purple players, rejoice. PRBO2 will reprint Usohachi. And it looks like on Gab's turn, he has about 4 swings. 6,000 to his leader. What will Daryl's response be?
6 leader.
He is thinking. He does give a 1K counter Nami, reducing his hand size to 5. 8,000 power to his leader. And it looks like he is going to use the Gum Gum Giant, Dawn minusing 2, trashing 1 card from hand, and drawing 2 for his faults. And now returns back to 5 hand size, but that does mean that his counters are basically very minimal at this point. He doesn't have any dons left up, and simply Gab will just keep swinging and swinging 9,000, 9,000, and he most likely will play another gigantic body. So 9,000 swing. He has to take it.
Sige.
I don't think he has counter in his hand. He has used his event counters, so it is very
Leader
minimal at this
balik.
point. And I
Block.
believe he will simply block with the Nami. So for
Grabe kay
9
karta
Dons,
gapon.
I think he will play the
Mo.
9 cost Sanji into a big body. Oh no, 9 cost Linlin. And he is going to target that Bond Clay. These Bond Clays are never getting the
Sige.
chance to attack because 9 cost Mom heals one and chooses to
Ilan
place
may
one
life
of your
mo?
opponent's 6 cost or lower characters to the top or bottom of your life.
Sige.
And at the end of the turn, category does restand up to
Wala
2
naman
Big
eh.
Mom Pirate cards,
Grabe
which is
nakig-walls.
himself and the 9 cost Linlin. And right now, it's
A
looking
5.
very grim dark for Daryl's situation right now, folks. It is
2K.
very difficult to come back from this
Yan, tap.
situation. Gab still has a bunch of hand cards. He still has a bunch of life, 4 life to be
1.
exact. And Daryl doesn't have that many swings on his board. He only has his leader and
6 lead.
his Linlin. Swinging with the Nami means he can't use it for a blocker, and he needs that defense. He has been forced into this very dire situation.
Sige. 9 life.
The 6,000 power will be blocked by the 8 cost category, and the 9,000 swing to the leader will simply either be taken or will be countered.
9.
And I think if he chooses to take, Gab won't be burdened that much. He
Tagal
will
2 life.
choose to take because he is still in a very good position. And now we
Yes.
finally see that 9 cost Sanji being played out, and the body he gets with it is going to be a 9 cost Linden of his
Random.
own. He still gets to heal. He gets
Push 1
to
card.
Dawn -1, trash 1 card from his hand, and places the top card of their life, places the top card of their deck to their life. And
And
he doesn't seem to have a target
pass.
for the second effect, so he will, I believe, pass over to Gab,
6.
and we will see how Gab's
Pili
turn
mo nila
plays
sa 30
out.
minutes. Pa.
Okay, right now, Gab is thinking of what he wants to take from his 5 from his leader effect, and he's thinking very hard. He's thinking which cards will push my lead even further so that my opponent has no way of coming back from his dire situation. He does take the
Sige.
9, the 5 cost Nami, the blocker Nami, which does have a counter. It looks like he will return those cards to the top of his deck. He will, in fact, restand all of his units, all of his Dawn, and proceed with his turn.
Sige.
So he swings first with
Leader.
8,000 with his Katakuri. He is trying to read Daryl's hand at this point. He wants to know what cards are in Daryl's hand. And it looks like he is going to take and shows a Thunder Bagua trigger, giving him an additional active Dawn to play for his counter.
9K leader.
So it's going to be a 9,000 power to his leader. Excuse me. He's going to take 9,000 from his opponent. This is entailing, this is putting him on the edge of his life. He has two
Okay,
2K counters, and he's going to use 9,000 Sanji to his opponent's leader. Will he choose to counter out, or will he simply take the life and
Taking.
take... Oh, he takes the life! He is on edge right now. He's dancing on the Rager's edge, but Gab chooses to play this very, very
Leader.
safely.
Block.
A very smart play, in fact, because he still has the blocker, and he can still play the 5 cost Nami if he needs to, leaving it. He does not play the 5 cost, he plays the Red Rock, even diminishing further Daryl's
Ano,
board
matindog man.
position right now, and it looks like Daryl's
Sige,
position
ang
is
isa.
getting
Sige, ang
grimmer and grimmer as these
Sige mo na.
turns pass over.
Oh, there is stand.
Right now,
Sige.
Gab still has the
5.
8 cost category hiding behind that Linlin right there. a blocker, and it seems that Daryl is in a very tough situation right now. He chooses to get the Gum Gum Giant, but as far as we know, Gum Gum Giant can only block at least one attack,
Oo.
maybe not even
Nakalaas na gamgam.
by his own. He needs additional counter. And it looks like Daryl
Draw one.
simply just could not outpace the tempo that Gab displayed. He did, Daryl did in fact have the lead in the earlier turns, but because he could not
Ay,
make the
nahimo po
most
na
out of
ulit.
his position when he was ahead,
6K,
Gab found his footing. He found
6K
his
leader.
comeback, and it looks like his ward is just putting shuffle all his opponent's hand cards until he draws five back.
3 to 1.
And at this
3
point,
to 1.
it does not seem to be
Sumusubok
particularly
ako.
that strong because even though you do shuffle his hand cards, he still has three
Sige.
life. He is nowhere near dying at this point. There is nowhere near losing all of his health. He's nowhere near being defeated by that last additional swing.
Ah,
So right now he is going to just assign some dons. One don swing
yan kata.
10,000 to probably the Charlotte Katakuri. What will Gab decide to do? What will he do? Will he counter? Will he just simply give it away? Because okay, he does not want to give it away. He does want to counter out because he knows that these swings are going to matter because I am going
Oh,
to
sige.
finish you next
5. 5,
turn.
5, 5.
You have no
5, 5.
life. You do have hand counters,
5.
but will they be enough to suppress five total swings? He is going to use a
Sige. Okay.
2K and a 1K, being the Usohachi and the 5 cost Nami.
9 kata. Ano eh? Ilang
Wala
talaga
na
sa...
kay lain attacker, no? Wala
Wala
kay
na.
So right now Daryl swings 9,000 to his opponent's leader, I believe. Or no, should be the category, right? Oh no, it. If it's either the category or the leader, then I believe that he will get counted out no matter what because that's plus 4,000. He draws
Pass.
his two, Don minus his two,
Na.
and it looks
Easy ka.
like Gab is going to get his turn. Daryl
Sige.
has to pass over. He has nothing else to
Ah,
do, and at this point, Gab can simply
mas tulo
swing
ka
very,
kata eh.
very huge per turn, per swing rather. But as always, in the game of One Piece, we like
6,
to
6.
do the hand check, see how many counters
Oh,
our
blockers.
opponent
Wala ka.
has. But at this point, it's not particularly relevant,
Oh,
but it is
blockers.
still
Ah,
something
relative bro.
that we like to do to ensure that the victory is ours and ours for the taking. Right now, he is simply going to add two dons. No, not two dons, one don, I believe, swinging 10,000 to
One.
his opponent's leader.
shock na lang ko na kay
Toto.
And right now,
1K.
Daryl does
Sige.
use the Gum Gum
Tapos
Giant.
balik.
Trashes Zorduro, Dawn minus 2, draws two cards, plus 4,000, an additional 1K counter will do.
2K, 2K, 1K. Sige.
He does have 2K, 2K, 1K, which blocks out the 10.
GG's, GG's.
And I believe that he swings 8 and the game is over. GG by these two
Asa
players.
man? Asa man?
Tremendous battle. But
Okay, good
in the end, Gab did manage to, like I said before, have the
Sa
wider
Gam-Gam.
board, swing more, have more resources, and Garrett just could not keep up. But that's the game of One Piece. Tremendous battle from them. Good job from both players.
Hindi
Congratulations.
ngayon.
And after a short break, we'll be right back to show you
Katak mo ng
the
gawas.
results
Luod mo
and
sila.
for our second and
Gumita
final
ko
round.
pag-ship mo.
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned.
Walang mas kaya, siguro kaway katawi.
Lagi. Nanaon ba ning kata jud? Bro. Tuod man siya. Tuod di kahatag tangan.
All right, hello, One Piece players. If I am heard and can be heard, For our last round, the top table will be Gab versus Zach. And for Arena 2, it'll be Daryl versus Brighton. Now, please proceed to your respective areas. And for Gab and Zach, please stay in the Zoom call to to show us your cameras for the next round.
All right. Sige, sige, bro.
Requesting gamay lang ni Zach na moabante gamay ang imuhang setup or imong hands para makita as requested by the sponsor of the tournament. Thank you. All right, before we formally begin, I would like to request Gab to please reveal his camera setup before we can conduct the second and final round of our OPCG tournament. Thank you.
Sedge, makadungog ko nimo pero diri sa Zoom. So, sige, sige.
Sige, sige, wait sa ha. Ako sa ni i-fix.
Hello, bro. Matungog daw ko ni Kuan, ni Zach through the Zoom. Ito daw usbon ang messenger call. Hello? Ma Kuan daw, madunggan daw ko sa Zoom. Okay, okay. Okay, dili na. Sige, sige. Ako sas lang i-set up pa sa speakers. Okay.
All right, One Piece players, you may begin as you are ready.
All right. right. So, good evening once again to our viewers right now at the Battlegrounds live stream. And it looks like we're going to be heading to our second round of tonight's One Piece card game tournament. This will be a match between Gab and Zach. Gab is going to be on the blue purple Luffy, and Zach is going to be on the green Zoro. And now, what's unique about the green Zoro, ladies and gentlemen, is that the green Zoro is a green deck that has the capabilities of control because of his leader effect with 3 dons attached, activate main once per turn. When this character battles, when this leader battles a character, you may set this leader up as active, but you can no longer attack a character with an original cost of 7 or less. So that does mean that once Zoro has 3 dons attached, he can swing into one of his opponents and then subsequently swing again to the leader, achieving two things: control and board and pressure to the life. Because as the game goes on, Blue Purple Luffy does gain the advantage because it is a late game deck. But for Zoro, he can end the game, particularly at the points when he has about like 10 dons or even 8 dons, he can set up his lead. So right now we're going to see if whether or not Blue Purple Luffy can outlast and out resource Zoro, or will Zoro just be too aggressive, too offensive that he cannot um, outlast how the cuts are going to be. Okay, so the decks are properly shuffled right now. Draws one,
Bro, may
two,
tikik
three,
imong
four,
ban lang.
five.
Kaniti, G. Turn, okay na. Okay na.
Ah, wait lang. Mo refresh lang ko kay na ako sa browser among good.
Oh, sige.
And does have his 3 life. And shortly, uh, there seems to be a
Ah, okay na, okay na.
can we request for it to be highlighted next to each other so that we can have a proper viewing experience.
Sa main ba para makita na mo klaro
But
ay tagpo
as
dito.
of right now, it is currently Zach did go first. He is going to play the Perona and draw a.
Okay, siya man ang host good, mag siya makalihok sa camera ba.
Oh, siya rin makalihok bitaw.
Hold on for a second.
Okay na, Gab.
Okay, okay.
Kani, perfect, perfect.
Stand by, stand by, viewers from the stream. I'm going to settle a technical difficulty on the player's end. Stand by.
Pero na. Search.
Hey guys, what seems to be the problem?
Okay.
So at least
Wala
na-center
siya
na siya. Okay
center.
na?
Center na siya.
Ah, okay na.
Sige. Sige, I will leave you guys to play.
Okay, thanks. Push siya ng equal then bottom.
Ah, Koshiro, bottom.
Apologies for that slight technical difficulty, folks. And we are now properly centered for our players. I did not, I unfortunately did not see what he drew from his one cost Perona, but it should be a card that has slash attribute or a green character. So right now, Gab does pass with 2 dons open, and Zach will have his turn with 3 dons swing 6,000 to
6K
his
leader.
opponent's leader. Gab chooses whether or not he wants to take this. I don't think he wants to take this because, as I said before, Green Zoro is the aggressor in this matchup, so he wants to preserve his life as much as he can. So for
Kushiro.
2 dons, he plays the
Pass.
Koshiro. Koshiro, such a great and excellent card because he does deny a KO from God's from stuff like God Threat because Koshiro's ability is when one of your slash characters would be KO'd by your opponent's effects, you may instead rest this
Take.
character so that they will
Okay, okay.
not be KO'd by that effect of Don as active, trying to push through and get his Dons as much as he can and as fast as
Tashigi.
he can. But he
Let's
does
skip.
play these by no means, because as we all know, Blue Purple Luffy can make those comebacks once he gets those gigantic bodies on field. So right now he does swing 7,000, I believe, to his opponent's leader, which Zoro will simply take because he needs to. He needs the hand cards, and he might not have the enough
Okay, okay.
counter at this early in the game. Right now, he does choose to use the God Threat. I believe he will target the Kosh. Right now, Zach does have about 7 Dons to his name, and he will decide whether or not he can choose to go aggressive, or will he play stuff like this 5 cost Cavendish that can restand 2 of his Dons if your leader is a Supernova, and he chooses to play the Perona. Remember, Cavendish is a slash. Like I said, if he wants that effect, he might just try to right then and there. A very good card to accelerate Zack's lead and tempo on the field. But remember, folks, that blue purple Luffy can and does run the 7 cost gravity blade, which can bottom deck 2 of your opponent's characters that would cost a 6 or less. It is all a matter of does he have it for his next turn, or does he, or will
Seven
he
dito.
not? This time, 7,000 power going to his leader from the Tashigi. What will Gab like to do? I believe he will like to counter 2K. Yes, a 2K, but it's Usohachi. Usohachi
And
would
size.
have been crucial for a Ender game, but don't worry. Blue Purple is very adamant in searching through his deck. He will probably find another one later. He does find the 2K counter Sanji, and he will choose to bottom or top. He chooses to top. He does like the cards on his top deck. All right, he now has his Tendon. And what will he proceed to do with his turn? 6,000 to the opponent's leader. 6,000 to the opponent's leader. Zach will simply play a 2K counter if he wants to be defensive, or will simply take if he wants more cards in hand. For Luffy, who runs pudding. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but
Okay,
he
okay.
does very rough situation if he chooses to block against the lead. Very rough situation if he chooses to block against the leader's attack. Right now, 9 Dons to Zach's name. He might play the 8 cost Mihawk, which will allow him to restand 4 of his Dons, which is very, very huge. Right now, Zach is trying to figure out what he wants to do on his turn. Does he want to go super aggressive, or does he want to set up the me? Okay, my
Ashura. Katakuri and
demonic 9 sword style, freaking dead man's game, Ashura. I don't know. I don't particularly know the sequence of how you say that name, but I'm gonna say Dead Man's Game. Dead Man's Game.
6K
Such a
dito.
solid event card. Basically, 1 cost, but you can tap 3 more to rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters or Don. That's what he does. He swings 6,000 with Cavendish because not only is it an on play, but it's also one attacking. Now he one attacks, he
8K dito.
resends 2 of his Don, attaches 1 Don to Toshiki, 8,000 power to his opponent's leader. He is trying
Size.
to ensure that you won't get to your late game. I am going to make sure that I will finish this game as quickly as I can. Right now, he has to defend this one. Otherwise, that shows that Zach does have a lot of avenues for his offense. And I believe he's going to use all of his Dawn
Hand
swing
size is 4, no?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11,000 to the Katakuri, and then swing again to the leader.
8K Katakuri.
Okay, so not 11,000. It's just gonna be an 8,000 power to his opponent's leader or the Katakuri. He will pressure the Katakuri this time around because this is what we call a hand check. He's trying to do a hand check, and he lets go of
Yes,
the
kill. 8k, 8k.
Katakuri. This does tell Zach that Gab has very minimal counters on his hand, and it looks like he's going to take that damage. And right now, it is a very good
He's stunned.
position. And he has the
8k.
event. Luffy will become the Pirate King. Swings 8,000 again to his opponent's leader. And it looks like it's going to be a GG's. Very quick game. Very strong offensive by the Green Zoro. This is what I mean, folks. Green Zoro has the ability to just simply end the game before Blue Purple Luffy has a chance to play his big bodies. Congratulations from both players. You did a tremendous job, but in the end, we can only have one winner.
Slash.
And tonight it's going to be Zach with Green Zoro. Congratulations to Zach. And to all our viewers out there, my name is Sedge Andre So, and thank you for joining me as we see that our first ever Battlegrounds tournament winner is going to be Zach with Green Zoro. A round of applause to everyone. To to all the people who took their time and played their games with our event. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your presence. And if you'd like to join these tournaments, do not hesitate to join the Discord of Battlegrounds. Message me or Sir Fang, and we will get you in touch so that you can be one of our legendary pirates or marines. I'm still waiting for that one marine player. But for now, that's all we have for tonight. It has been such a great pleasure to be your host. Congratulations to the players, and we will be arranging their prizes shortly. But thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.